What if the biggest obstacle in your life has never been your circumstances? What if the greatest battle has always been taking place inside your own mind? Most people spend years believing that happiness, confidence, and peace are waiting somewhere in the future. They tell themselves that once they achieve success, earn more money, or receive recognition, everything will finally fall into place. But this way of thinking quietly traps them in an endless cycle of chasing something that always seems just out of reach. The ancient Stoics saw life differently. They believed that the strongest prison is not built from walls or locked doors. Instead, it is created by fear, unchecked emotions, and thoughts that are accepted without question. When a person realizes this truth, everything begins to change. They stop blaming the world for every struggle and start understanding that true freedom begins within. Life will never unfold exactly as planned. Dreams will sometimes fall apart. People you trust may disappoint you. Unexpected problems will appear without warning, and some things will happen that you simply cannot control. These experiences are part of every human life. The important question is not whether difficulties will come. They certainly will. The real question is how you choose to respond when they arrive. Every challenge gives you two options. You can allow it to weaken your spirit, or you can use it to strengthen your character. While you cannot always control events, you always have influence over your attitude and your actions. That single realization changes everything. Real strength does not come from perfect circumstances or constant success. It comes from learning to manage the one thing that truly belongs to you, your own mind. As you begin practicing this skill, even in small ways, your entire view of life starts to shift. The world itself may remain the same, but your perspective becomes clearer and stronger. The moment you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What can I do now?" your life starts moving in a different direction. Instead of wasting energy on frustration, you begin searching for solutions. Instead of feeling powerless, you discover that your greatest influence exists in the present moment. This is where progress truly begins. Many people spend years waiting for life to improve before deciding to improve themselves. They believe happiness depends on better circumstances. But those who develop mental discipline understand something different. They know that peace is not created by perfect conditions. It is created by the way they choose to think. Difficult moments no longer become proof that life is unfair. Instead, they become opportunities to practice patience, wisdom, and self-control. Slowly, frustration is replaced with responsibility. Helplessness is replaced with confidence. Bitterness gives way to determination. Nothing about life becomes easier overnight, but your relationship with life's difficulties becomes completely different. Eventually, peace no longer depends on everything going according to plan. Instead, stability comes from within. One of the most powerful truths you can discover is that your life is shaped not only by what happens, but also by the meaning you assign to every experience. Two people can face the same setback and walk away with completely different futures. One becomes discouraged. The other becomes stronger. The difference is not the event itself. The difference is the interpretation. A clear mind produces better decisions. Better decisions create wiser actions. Wise actions build resilience that remains steady even when life becomes unpredictable. But this raises an important question. If your reactions shape your future, what is shaping your reactions? Most people pay attention only to what they do. Very few stop to examine what has been influencing their thoughts every single day. The mind never becomes anxious overnight. It is trained gradually through repetition. Just as the body reflects the food it receives, the mind reflects everything it consumes. Books, conversations, social media, entertainment, news, and the thoughts repeated every day. Many people begin each morning by immediately giving away their attention. Before they even organize their own thoughts, they allow endless information to fill their minds. Headlines create worry. Social media encourages comparison. Opinions create anger. Images convince them they are falling behind, while everyone else is moving ahead. Hours later, they wonder why they feel distracted, restless, and emotionally exhausted. The answer has been there all along. Attention is one of your greatest resources. Whatever consistently receives your attention slowly begins to shape your beliefs, your emotions, and eventually your entire life. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. They knew that while you cannot always control what enters your world, you can decide what deserves a place inside your mind. Every thought should be questioned before it is accepted. Fear often disguises itself as caution. Doubt pretends to be realism. Worry convinces you it is preparing you for the future. Yet if these patterns are left unchallenged, they quietly become habits that control your decisions. Before you even attempt something meaningful, your mind begins imagining failure. Before opportunities are explored, excuses are already being created. Without realizing it, you begin living according to fears that exist only in your imagination. This is why mastering your mind is the first and most important victory. Once you learn to guide your attention instead of allowing it to control you, every area of your life begins moving in a new direction. Every person has habits, whether they realize it or not. Some habits strengthen the mind, while others slowly weaken it. The surprising part is that these habits are often so small and ordinary that they go unnoticed for years. Yet over time, they shape the person you become. Your thoughts are not random. They follow patterns. The more often you think a certain way, the easier it becomes for your mind to return to that same path. If you spend every day expecting failure, your mind becomes skilled at finding reasons why success seems impossible. If you constantly compare yourself to others, dissatisfaction becomes your normal state. If you repeatedly focus on everything that could go wrong, fear eventually begins making decisions for you. This is why mental discipline does not begin during life's biggest challenges. It begins during the ordinary moments that seem unimportant. Every book you read, every conversation you have, every video you watch, and every thought you choose to entertain leaves a small mark on your character. One decision may not seem significant, but thousands of similar decisions slowly shape your identity. Imagine planting a garden. If weeds are ignored day after day, they eventually take over everything. But if you consistently care for the soil, remove what doesn't belong, and nourish healthy plants, the entire garden begins to flourish. Your mind works in exactly the same way. Negative thinking rarely appears all at once. It grows through repeated attention. The same is true for confidence, discipline, and wisdom. They are not gifts given to a lucky few. They are qualities developed through daily practice. This realization is actually freeing because it means you are not permanently trapped by your current way of thinking. If unhealthy habits can shape the mind without your awareness, healthier habits can reshape it with intention. You cannot stop every negative thought from appearing. No one can. Even the strongest people experience fear, uncertainty, and self-doubt. The goal is not to create a perfect mind. The goal is to become more careful about what deserves your attention. Attention is like water. Whatever you continue to water grows stronger. Many people unknowingly keep feeding the very thoughts they wish would disappear. A painful memory from years ago continues hurting because it is replayed over and over again. A single criticism spoken long ago still influences confidence because it is repeated hundreds of times inside the mind. The original moment may have lasted only seconds, but constant repetition keeps it alive. In many cases, people suffer less from the event itself and more from the story they continue telling themselves afterward. Learning to redirect your attention is rarely dramatic. It is usually quiet and almost invisible. It happens when you notice yourself worrying about something beyond your control and gently bring your focus back to the day's responsibilities. It happens when comparison appears, but instead of allowing jealousy to grow, you choose gratitude for what you already have. It happens when fear begins predicting failure, yet you continue taking small, meaningful actions instead of allowing fear to make the final decision. Each of these moments may seem insignificant, but together they create a powerful transformation. Every time you choose awareness over impulse, your mental strength increases. Gradually, outside influences lose some of their control. Fear still exists, but it no longer controls every decision. Distractions still appear, but it becomes easier to return your focus to what truly matters. Comparison still shows up, but it no longer determines your self-worth. This change happens because your attention is no longer being controlled by accident. It is being guided by conscious choice. However, understanding these ideas is only the beginning. Reading inspiring books, listening to motivational talks, or learning Stoic philosophy does not automatically transform your life. Knowledge points toward the path, Practice is what allows you to walk it. Many people spend years collecting information, but very little time applying it. They understand discipline in theory, but abandon it when life becomes uncomfortable. Real transformation always happens through repetition. Think about any valuable skill. A person does not become physically fit by reading about exercise. A musician does not master an instrument by memorizing notes. A writer does not improve without writing. The same principle applies to mind. Mental strength is not developed by agreeing with wise ideas. It is developed by living according to those ideas, especially when doing so feels difficult. Anyone can remain calm when life is easy. The real test comes when plans fall apart. It comes when disappointment arrives. It comes when emotions demand immediate reactions. Those are the moments when habits reveal themselves. When pressure increases, people rarely rise to their highest intentions. More often, they fall back on their strongest habits. Someone may intend to remain patient, but if impatience has been practiced for years, that habit usually takes control. Someone may want to be courageous, but if fear has always been obeyed, fear naturally becomes the louder voice. This is not because they lack intelligence. It is because the mind always follows the paths it knows best. That is why your smallest daily choices matter more than you realize. Progress often feels invisible at first. You choose discipline today, and tomorrow nothing appears different. You resist negative impulse, yet life seems exactly the same. You continue acting according to your principles without receiving immediate rewards. Many people quit during this stage because they mistake slow progress for no progress. But lasting character is never built overnight. It grows quietly beneath the surface through thousands of small decisions repeated consistently. Eventually, those decisions become habits. Those habits become character. And character becomes a foundation that no temporary success or failure can ever take away. Real growth does not happen in a single breakthrough. It is built through the quiet decisions you make every day. Most people wait for the perfect moment to change, believing they will become disciplined once they feel motivated. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Confidence is often misunderstood. Many believe confident people are fearless, but that is rarely true. The strongest individuals still experience doubt, uncertainty, and discomfort. The difference is that they refuse to let those emotions make their decisions. Every meaningful achievement begins with action taken before confidence fully exists. The person who speaks despite being nervous becomes a better communicator. The person who continues working despite setbacks develops resilience. The person who keeps promises to themselves, even on difficult days, slowly builds trust in their own character. That trust becomes genuine confidence. True confidence is not believing that everything will work out perfectly. It is believing that no matter what happens, you will find a way to respond with wisdom and strength. This is why courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to move forward even when fear is present. If every decision is based on comfort, growth eventually comes to a halt. The mind begins treating every uncomfortable situation as if it were dangerous. Opportunities are ignored, dreams remain unfinished, and potential slowly fades. Not because success was impossible, but because discomfort was avoided. There's something incredibly freeing about accepting that lasting change takes time. You no longer feel pressured to transform overnight. Instead of chasing instant results, you begin focusing on consistent effort. Every small step becomes valuable because you understand that real progress is built one decision at a time. Eventually, these repeated actions create something far more powerful than temporary motivation. They create character. Character allows you to remain steady when emotions change. Feelings come and go, but principles remain constant. Some days you will feel inspired. Other days you will feel exhausted. If your actions depend entirely on your emotions, your progress will always be inconsistent. But when your actions are guided by values instead of moods, you continue moving forward regardless of how you feel. Life will always bring unexpected challenges. There will be disappointments, failures, and moments when nothing seems to go according to plan. The Stoics never believed a meaningful life would be free from hardship. Instead, they believed hardship could become one of life's greatest teachers. Many of the qualities people admire most, patience, discipline, resilience, and wisdom, cannot be developed without difficulty. Just as muscles become stronger through resistance, character becomes stronger through challenge. Think about your own life. The moments that shaped you most were probably not the easiest ones. They were the moments that forced you to adapt. They taught you patience. They revealed strengths you never knew you possessed. While painful at the time, they often became turning points that helped you grow into a stronger version of yourself. This does not mean suffering should be welcomed or romanticized. Pain is real. Loss hurts. Failure hurts. Disappointment hurts. The lesson is simply this. Pain does not have to define you. Every difficult experience carries a choice. You can allow it to become bitterness, or you can allow it to become wisdom. The event itself may be beyond your control, but the meaning you give it always remains yours to choose. Many people place their happiness entirely in the hands of external circumstances. They believe they will feel worthy once they receive approval. They believe peace will arrive after success. They believe confidence depends on everything going according to plan. But external conditions constantly change. If your inner peace depends entirely on them, your emotional life will always feel unstable. The strongest people learn to invest their energy differently. Instead of trying to control every outcome, they focus on controlling their preparation. Instead of worrying about tomorrow, they commit themselves fully to today's actions. Instead of seeking certainty, they develop the ability to adapt. This shift creates remarkable emotional freedom. Anxiety begins losing its influence because attention returns to what can actually be done right now. Confidence also begins to change. It is no longer based on guaranteed success. It becomes trust in your own ability to face whatever life brings. That trust cannot be borrowed from other people. It cannot be purchased. It cannot be created through positive thinking alone. It is earned through consistent action. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens it. Every obstacle you overcome adds another layer. Every difficult decision made according to your values reinforces it. Eventually, you discover something even more important. Discipline alone is not enough. Every person needs a reason to continue when life becomes difficult. Without purpose, even small setbacks feel overwhelming. With purpose, even great sacrifices become meaningful. That is why direction matters. Ask yourself a simple question. Who do I want to become? Not what do I want to own? Not what do I want people to think about me? But what kind of person do I want to be when life becomes difficult? The answer to that question shapes everything else. It influences your choices. It strengthens your habits. It gives meaning to your struggles. Once your purpose becomes clear, distractions lose much of their power. Temporary pleasures become easier to resist because they no longer fit the person you are trying to become. Challenges still appear, but they no longer seem meaningless. They become part of your journey instead of reasons to quit. This is a quiet strength the Stoics tried to teach. Master your thoughts. Practice discipline every day. Accept what you cannot control. Act with courage despite uncertainty. Live according to your values rather than your emotions. Because in the end, the greatest victory is not gaining control over the world. It is becoming the kind of person who remains calm, disciplined, and purposeful regardless of what the world brings. Every new day gives you another opportunity to practice that mindset. One decision, one habit, one step at a time. And before you realize it, the person you once hoped to become has become the person you are.